penalty box though. That is 4 points again for Felony. And Dash is back on track from the bin. Felony through for 4 more points. And that is Dash completing initial pass as Felony another 4 points, and Splits gets sent to the penalty box for a multiplayer block for Team Rad. A big jam for Felony there, 20 points, taking Team Rad to 96. NBR on 61. Chastity Belter out to jam for NBR against Bambi for Team Rad. And that is Chastity Belter, lead jammer for NBR. Chastity Belter picking up 4 points, then calling the jam. Taking NBR to 65. Team Rad still out on front on 96. Team Rad on no initial pass there, but NBR calling the jam strategically, I would say, to squeeze in this one last jam. And that is Dash, a lead jammer for Team Rad. NBR, sorry, my brain, I am in need of a second coffee. Jamming, not lead jammer, is Malice and Mayhem for Team Rad. But Dash has called the jam. 4 points? 4 points? 3 points to NBR, taking them to 68. Team Rad out on front on 96. But guess what? It's half time. We will be back in 15 minutes. Alrighty. We are a minute and a half-ish away from kicking off into the second half of this consolation game for Division 2. It's Northern Brisbane Rollers Team Phoenix and Regional Alliance Derby Team Rad. I am Purple Rain, talking you through the action on track 2 here. Playing for Northern Brisbane Rollers Team Phoenix, we have 1-2 Ginger Snaps, 2-1-0 Kayla, 2-2 Dash, 2-8 Naughty Annie, 3-7 Chili Margs, 5 Buttercrap, 5-1-7 Desert Pea, 6-1-6 Gem, 6-1-8 Metal Minx, 6-9 Mesmeralda, 7-8-9 Struck Out Seamstress, BB Skate, 8-1 Chas Belter, 8-3 Kryptonite, and I believe I saw 2-0 VD sneaking in there. Normally a surprise VD is not a good thing, but in this case, we'll take it. And on the bench we have Rubik's Cube and Blitzkrieg Bomb. And playing for Team Rad, we have 101 Skywalker, 121 Lupine Huntress, 187 Missy Quinn, 3 This Duck Is Nuts, 32 Bambi, 33 Crazed Haze, 42 Malice and Mayhem, 444 Felony, 5 Leggy, 7 Alley, 83 Bossy, 96 Roadie Ho, 99 Splits, and on the bench we have Beats, Numero Uno, and Chaotic K. Where we stand at the end of the first half, we have Team Rad in the lead on 98 to MBR on 68. Out to jam now for Team Rad is Malice and Mayhem, and I believe that is Chastity Belter out there for MBR. And Chastity Belter is lead jammer for MBR. Chastity Belter picking up 4 points for MBR, but they do lose Gem to the penalty box. Malice and Mayhem completing initial pass, but Chastity Belter calls the jam after picking up another 3 points, taking MBR to 75, Team Rad on 98. Felony out to jam now for Team Rad, and that is a dash for MBR. And lead jammer for Team Rad is Felony. Felony, not lead jammer actually, scratch that. Going to the penalty box for a multiplayer block, which is an interesting penalty to receive as a jammer. And Dash is now awarded lead jammer for MBR. That is a sluggish tripod there, not giving an inch, but Dash finds a way around it to pick up 4 points for MBR. Felony returning to the track from the penalty box. Gem also headed out of the penalty box, so potentially a double penalty there for Gem. Felony completing initial pass, but Gem is called. Team Rad remaining on 98. NBR closing that gap, picking up 8 points there, now on 83. We have Bambi out to jam for Team Rad, and that is Chastity Belter for NBR. Bit of a pack advantage to NBR with a Rad blocker in the bin. Rad getting really, getting really locked into that NBR defensive wall and getting run all the way back by Gem. Chastity Belter picking up a lead jammer for NBR. And that is Bambi completing their initial pass for Team Rad. But Chastity Belcher picks up the points for MBR and calls the jam. MBR 87, Team Rad still ahead on 98. Alright, out now we have Dash for MBR, and that is Malice and Mayhem jamming for Team Rad. Pack advantage to Rad this time with Gem remaining in the penalty box. And it works for Malice, picking up a lead jammer. Team Rad losing Sideshow Alley to the penalty box though. Malice and Mayhem getting put on the floor there by the MBR defense. Dash headed to the penalty box. It looks like Gem headed back to the bin as well, taking a few trips in that direction so far this game. And that is 4 points for Malice and Mayhem. But they decide to call the jam, icing Chastity Belter in the penalty box. Team Rad 102 to MBR 87. That is 6 penalties now for Gem, so getting into that danger zone of not sure how much more we will see of them in this game. But we'll find out. Felony taking that power jam for Team Rad and making initial pass in no time. Felony almost getting through with that fancy footwork, but having to recycle behind MBR. And Chastity Belter is back on track. Sorry, that was Dash. I am thinking of the wrong jammer. Dash back on track and completing initial pass. But Felony decides to shut down that opportunity and call the jam. On the scoreboard, Team Rad on 106 to NBR's 87. We have Bambi lining up to jam for Team Rad, and that is, this time it is Chastity Belter for NBR. And looks like lead jammer is a Team Rad. Bambi deciding to call that jam though, getting overtaken by Chastity Belter. That is Malice and Mayhem out to jam for Rad and Dash for MBR. And Dash is through for jammer for MBR. Metal Minx headed to the penalty box for MBR, as well as that is Crazed Haze, I believe, for Team Rad. Malice and Mayhem completing initial pass, but Dash picks up 4 points and calls the jam. MBR seemingly going for the strategy of take the points, but then try and run down as much of the clock as you can before the other team have a chance to get points. Scores are still fairly close. NBR 91, Team Rad 106. That is Felony now jamming for Team Rad and Chastity Belter for NBR. Both jammers out of the pack, but it is Felony in the lead. A couple of NBR blockers in the bin and one being released at the end of that jam. So now it is just VD Crazed Haze. On the scoreboard, 1 point there for NBR, taking them to 92, but Rad picked up 4, taking them to 110. We have Bambi jamming currently for Team Rad and Dash for NBR. And that is Dash, lead jammer for NBR. All skaters now out of that penalty box. I always jinx people saying that because now Metal Minx is in the penalty box. And Dash. I'm really sorry, NBR, this is entirely my fault, though Team Rad losing splits to the penalty box as well. But taking the power jam currently for Rad is Bambi. Bambi picking up 4 points. NBR also losing VD to the bin. Bambi getting hit out of bounds and having to recycle all the way back by NBR's defense. Meanwhile, Dash is back from the penalty box and picks up 4 points for NBR. And that is another 4-point pass for Dash. We have splits heading back to the bin as well as another NBR blocker. I think that might be Desert P. We have 4 points picked up for Bambi and another 4 points picked up for Dash. 3 blockers apiece on track. Another 4 points on the board for Dash, and VD headed back to the penalty box. I would not enjoy being a PBT for this jam. It looked a bit chaotic over there. On the scoreboard, Team Rad on 117, picking up 7 points in that jam, but a big 16-point jam for NBR takes them to 109. And we have a Team Rad team timeout. And it like actually chat with Ruby about whether they put you guys live stream or on the in-house, and Ruby was like, if they're on the in-house, we see it live, but then I might not hear it because I might be busy. So maybe the live stream I can go back and watch it. It was a whole conversation. All right, at the end of timeout, we are just about to get ready to get back into the action. Words are hard at this point of a tournament. We have Chastity Belter out to jam for NBR, and that is Malice and Mayhem for Team Rad, avoiding Ginger Snaps' defense to pick up Jammer for Team Rad. Jam ref did look like they needed a second to think about it there. And Chastity Belter completes initial pass for MBR. But Malice and Mayhem takes the 4 points and calls the jam, pulling Team Rad back out to 125 to MBR's 109. We have Felony jamming for Team Rad against a Dash for MBR. I don't want to talk about what's going on in the penalty box currently because that'll just send someone there. And that is Felony lead jammer for Team Rad. But Chastity Belter also, Dash, I'm always getting those two mixed up today. Dash completing initial pass for MBR. But Felony absolutely flying through that pack there to grab the points and then call jam. Not quite in time to shut down NBR though, 1 point apiece. NBR 110 to Team Rad's 126. We have Chastity Belter lining up on the jammer line for NBR, and that is Bambi for Team Rad. And Chastity Belter out first, but declared lead jammer, I believe, is the situation. But then Bambi has taken the panty off, so this will probably be a 2-minute jam. And what a treat, taking that 2-minute jam for Rad is Sideshow Alley. 4 points on the board for Chastity Belter. I believe that was their second scoring pass of the jam. But Sideshow Alley coming in like a wrecking ball, picking up 4 points for Rad. Chastity Belter back around for another 4 points for MBR. Both jammers getting a bit locked down by those defensive walls for a minute there, but Sideshow Alley busts through 4 points for Team Rad. Chastity Belter being told to Belter is not lead. 4 points for MBR. And another 4 points for Sideshow Alley. 18 seconds on this jam clock left. Both jammers currently in the thick of it, but Sideshow Alley is out for 4 points. Chastity Belter's out in the penalty box. Alley returning to the bench and immediately taking a breather on the floor. At the end of that jam, Team Rad 142. NBR closing that gap again though, 132. We are into the final quarter of this game. Not quite sure what is going on. I think there was a bit of confusion with the whistles coming from the other track, but picking up lead jammer in this power jam for Team Rad is Malice and Mayhem. Desert P getting run all the way back there by Splits with Team Rad trying to control that pack. Chastity Belter getting released from the penalty box. Chastity Belter back in the penalty box for a forearms. That is a long run back on Malice and Mayhem by Kayla. Malice and Mayhem calling the jam. After that jam, Team Rad 146, MBR 132. Felony lining up to... We have an MBR team timeout. We'll be back in a minute. All right, that is the end of that team timeout. Felony lining up to take the power jam for Team Rad. Chastity Belter and a Team Rad blocker in the penalty box. I think that might be Crazed Haze. Team Rad losing Leggy to the penalty box. Felony lead jammer and picking up 4 points on their first scoring trip. Chastity Belter completing initial pass. Felony calling the jam and then taking a bit of a stack on one skate there. Dash lining up to jam for MBR, and that is Bambi for Team Rad. Slight back advantage to MBR with Leggy in the penalty box. And Dash is lead jammer for MBR. Bambi getting run back by Mesmeralda. Dash pulling a bit of a Bradbury there with the red blockers falling over and Dash finding a way out for 4 points. Bambi completing initial pass. Dash calling off the jam, sneaking in 1 point there. Taking MBR to 137, Team Rad out in front 154. All right, Malice and Mayhem out to jam for Team Rad and Chastity Belter for MBR. Chastity Belter getting sent to the penalty box. And not quite sure what number we're up to. We may be seeing the end of Chastity Belter. They do not have many penalties left to remain in this game from what I have seen. Not as many penalties as I thought. They've still got a couple up their sleeve, so we should be good for a few more jams out of Chastity Belter. They are back on track right now. We've had a jammer bounce as Malice and Mayhem has been sent to the penalty box. Chastity Belter completing initial pass for NBR. So this jam should be going for the full 2 minutes. Chastity Belter picking up another 4 points for NBR. And another 4 points for Chastity Belter. Malice and Mayhem back in the penalty box for a forearms. Chastity Belter through for 4 more points. This has been a great jam for Chastity Belter. We are so close to even scores right now. We are on NBR 150, only 2 points behind Team Red on 154. But we have an official review, so I'm going to go suss out what is happening with that. Alrighty, for those of you playing along at home on the interwebs, Team Rad are seeking a cut track penalty on the blue jammer for the previous jam, that was Chastity Belter, because they believe that Chastity Belter skated off track to avoid a hit from a Team Rad blocker. In place. I'm going to leave the scene for a minute because the good coffee place behind the Coles closed, well, near the Coles closes at 11 today. Do up to like 3 or 4 over there, so.
I mean, not like extra shots, but just like, you know how sometimes like a medium and a large have the same amount of shots? Only get me a large if it has more shots. You know what I mean?
I hate when they do that. It just makes,
it's just more milk.
Exactly.
I'm not drinking this for the milk, I'm drinking this for the caffeine.
I'm hearing hearing cheering from the Rad bench, so I think that was successful.
Love you, Paige.
Hearing some cheers from the Rad bench, so I believe that was a successful official review. And Chastity Belter is also sitting in the penalty box, which also implies official review. And now Chastity Belter is entering that fail-out danger zone I mentioned before, now on 5 penalties out of a possible 7. A couple of other skaters in that danger zone. We have VD and Gem for NBR, and Crazed Haze for Team Rad. All right, we have Malice taking that power jam released from the bin for Team Rad. Malice and Mayhem. Chastity Belter back on track though. I guess being a shorter penalty as Malice and Mayhem was sitting at the time Chastity Belter entered the box. Malice and Mayhem picking up 4 points for Team Rad. We've had a star pass that is Ginger Snaps now jamming for NBR. 4 points for Malice and Mayhem, and then calls the jam. Team Rad 162, NBR 152. We have about 6.5 minutes left and 10 points in this thing. Oh. We have Chastity Belter sitting in the penalty box as a blocker now. Always the danger of a star pass where jammers aren't necessarily refined in the arts of blocking. We are currently in an official timeout while this mess is resolved. All right, we have Felony jamming for Team Rad, but your lead jammer is Dash for NBR. Felony also completing initial pass. And that is end of jam. Dash calling the jam. Sneaking in 2 points there for NBR, taking them to 154. Team Rad 8 points ahead, 162. Still very much anybody's game. We have backing it up, jamming again for NBR. And Bambi jamming for Team Rad. And Bambi is lead jammer for Team Rad. Dash getting run all the way back. Actually, Dash is headed to the penalty box, so ignore me. Dash going to the bin for a forearms. But Bambi picking up 4 points. Team Rad calling the jam. I guess maybe looking to start this power jam with a fresh set of legs. Team Rad 166, extending that lead to 12 points, NBR 154. Looks like Felony taking the power jam for Team Rad. And Felony picks up a lead jammer for Team Rad. But Dash is back on track. With a little hop, skip, and jump, Felony picks up 4 points for Team Rad. We have had a star pass for NBR. That is Metal Minx now jamming. But Felony deciding not to call that, taking 4 points for Team Rad. Metal Minx headed to the penalty box for a forearms. And is another 4 points on the board for Felony and Team Rad. This power jam could be what determines the outcome of this game. But that is jam over. Next jam will also be beginning as a power jam, this time for Malice and Mayhem. Metal Minx, the starting jammer for NBR from the penalty box. We have just over 2 minutes left. Malice is through for lead jammer, but Metal Minx being released back on track imminently. That is 4 points for Malice and Mayhem. So 3 points, my correction there. Not quite a complete pass. But at this point of the game, any points is all they need. Malice and Mayhem getting run all the way back by, I believe that is Kayla. And Malice and Mayhem through for another 4 points for Rad. Rudy Ho getting set to the bin for Team Rad. But we have had a star pass, that is Ginger Snaps getting out of the pack and completing initial pass. But Malice and Mayhem calls the jam. We have 1 minute left on the period clock, so probably time for just one more jam in there. Team Rad pulling away a little bit in that power jam, taking them to 190 to NBR's 158. Chastity Belter taking the last jam for NBR, and that is Bambi for Team Rad. And Chastity Belter picking up lead jammer status for NBR. Chastity getting hit out by Leggy and having to go back. But Bambi is through for initial pass for Team Rad. Chastity Belter picks up 4 points for MBR. Skeleton Crew got away from them. But a fantastic final way to end track 2. I have been Purple Rain. I am out of here, but I will see you on the live stream later today on track 1, where coming up next we have the Division 2 third place playoff between Coastal Assassins and who is that? Tweed Valley Rollers.